Cipher had always believed in the system from childhood. He was told that hard work and intelligence would open doors to success. He had been a top student, excelling in science, mathematics, and technology. His teachers praised him, his parents were proud, and he was certain that his efforts would pay off. But reality hit him like a freight train after graduation. He applied to dozens of jobs, expecting his academic record to shine. Instead, rejection emails flooded his inbox. Eventually, he learned the harsh truth: merit alone wasn't enough. Without wealth or connections, securing a job was nearly impossible. He saw classmates with worse grades but rich parents get hired effortlessly. Others who had influential family members walked into high-paying roles without struggle. At first, he was in denial. He kept trying, believing that persistence would pay off. But after months of fruitless applications, frustration turned into anger. The system was rigged, favoring those who already had money and power. Cipher's dreams of a prestigious career in technology and innovation crumbled before his eyes. His family pressured him to find work. "We can't support you forever," they said. Forced by necessity, he took up labor jobs, construction, warehouse work, anything to bring in money. Every day, he watched the rich drive past in luxury cars, their lives comfortable and effortless, while he broke his back for pennies. He realized that the wealthy didn't work harder, they just knew how to play the game differently. One evening, as he sat exhausted after a long day at a construction site, he overheard a conversation between two older workers. "These rich folks, man, they don't work hard like us," one said, shaking his head. "They find loopholes, cheat the system, and keep getting richer." "Exactly," the other replied. "You think those millionaires got there by being honest? Nah, they know how to bend the rules. That's how the real world works." Cipher's mind raced. He had always believed that intelligence and effort would lead to success. But these men had spent their whole lives working hard, and they were still struggling. Maybe everything he believed was wrong. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what he had learned. Was it true? Did the rich really play by different rules? And if they did, why was he still following the ones that kept him trapped? By morning, he had made a decision. If the game was rigged, he wasn't going to play fair anymore. But unlike those who exploited the weak, he would be different. He wouldn't steal from those who had nothing. He would take from those who had everything. Cipher was done following the rules. Now, he was going to rewrite them. Cipher's mindset had shifted. He no longer viewed the world as a place where success came from hard work and honesty. Instead, he saw it as a game, one where those who knew how to bend the rules won. But unlike the corrupt elite, he would be selective. He would steal only from those who had too much, those who used their wealth to control the system. For days, he studied the world around him. He watched businessmen dodge taxes, politicians accept bribes, and corporations exploit workers. Even small-time hustlers bent the rules to get ahead. The entire world thrived on deception and loopholes. A single thought took root in his mind. If everyone was cheating to get ahead, why shouldn't he? But he wouldn't be reckless. He would do it with precision, strategy, and intelligence. He wouldn't just be a thief, he would be a mastermind. Cipher had spent his life learning science and technology. Now, he would put that knowledge to a different use. His expertise in engineering, hacking, and security systems would be his greatest weapons. If he played this right, he could take what he needed without ever getting caught. But he couldn't do it alone. Cipher thought back to his high school days. There had been one guy in his class who had always found a way to bend the rules: Reese. He wasn't the smartest student, but he knew how to get what he wanted. Reese had a reputation for pickpocketing, shoplifting, and other small-time crimes. While Cipher had spent his school years focused on academics, Reese had been learning the art of survival. Cipher needed someone who understood the underworld, someone who had experience in crime. If he was going to do this right, he needed a partner. But first, he had to prove himself. He needed credibility before approaching Reese. He needed to show that he wasn't just another desperate man looking for quick cash. He needed a demonstration of skill, a theft so clean and precise that Reese would have no choice but to take him seriously. Cipher decided on something simple but effective: stealing a motorcycle. Not just any bike, but one that belonged to a rich man, someone who wouldn't even feel the loss. It would serve as both a test and a tool. He needed mobility, a way to move around the city without relying on public transport. Now he just needed a plan. And when it came to plans, Cipher never failed. Cipher spent the next 2 days scouting locations, carefully analyzing where he could steal a motorcycle without attracting attention. He needed a place where expensive bikes were common, and where people were too distracted to notice a theft happening in real time. After careful observation, he found the perfect spot, a hospital parking lot. Hospitals were busy, filled with people dealing with emergencies. No one paid attention to a parked motorcycle, and even if someone did, they would assume the owner was just another visitor. It was the ideal location. Now, Cipher had to figure out how to get the keys. Hotwiring a modern motorcycle wasn't as simple as in old movies. High-end bikes had security features that made traditional theft methods difficult. His best option? Stealing the key directly from the owner. Dressed in expensive-looking clothes, Cipher arrived at the hospital early in the morning. He blended in with the professionals who frequented the area, making himself look like just another well-off citizen. He loitered near the entrance, watching as people arrived. Then, after half an hour, he spotted his target, a well-dressed man parking a sleek black Ducati. The man took off his helmet, locked the bike, and walked toward the hospital entrance. Cipher followed at a distance. Inside, the man pulled out his phone, distracted as he walked down the hallway. That was Cipher's opportunity. He moved in quickly, pretending to be in a hurry, and then, bam! He accidentally collided with the man, knocking both of them to the floor. In the chaos of the fall, Cipher's hand slipped into the man's pocket, grabbing the motorcycle key with practiced ease. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," Cipher stammered, scrambling to help the man up. "I wasn't paying attention. My brother's in surgery, I'm just so distracted." The man groaned, rubbing his elbow. "It's fine, just be careful next time." "I really didn't mean to, are you okay?" Cipher kept up the act, his face full of guilt. The man waved him off, clearly annoyed but too distracted to suspect anything. Yeah, don't worry about it." Cipher nodded apologetically, then hurried off, disappearing around the corner before the man had a chance to check his pockets. Cipher stepped out of the hospital and made his way toward the parking lot. His heart pounded, but he kept his pace steady. The trick was to act like he belonged. If he rushed or looked around nervously, people might take notice. He approached the Ducati, unlocked it, and casually swung his leg over the seat. To anyone watching, he looked like the rightful owner. With a deep breath, he started the engine. The bike purred to life beneath him. Smooth. Cipher put on a pair of sunglasses as if shielding his eyes from the morning sun, then calmly pulled out of the parking lot. As he rode onto the main road, a surge of adrenaline hit him. This was it. His first real theft, and it had gone perfectly. Cipher didn't ride straight home. That would have been a rookie mistake. Instead, he took a long route, making sure no one was following him. He weaved through different neighborhoods, stopping at random locations for a few minutes before moving again. It was a strategy he had read about. Never take a stolen vehicle straight to your hideout. After an hour, he finally parked in an abandoned lot on the outskirts of the city. He removed the license plate and wiped down the areas where he had touched the bike, eliminating any fingerprints. He wasn't planning to get caught because of a simple mistake. Now came the next step, modifying the bike. A stolen vehicle needed to be altered to avoid detection. That meant changing the color, switching out some parts, and installing fake plates. But all of that required money. Cipher had none. He leaned against the bike, thinking. His first theft had gone well, but he had a long way to go. He needed resources, tools, and connections. And that meant money. Stealing a motorcycle was one thing. But if Cipher was going to fund his operations, he needed cash. And he had an idea on exactly how to get it. But that would have to wait for the next job. Cipher had the bike, but that was just the beginning. He couldn't use it freely unless he modified it. The problem? He needed money, and his construction job wasn't going to cut it. He needed quick cash he could take without getting caught. He considered his options. Robbing a store was too risky. Hacking a bank account required resources he didn't have yet. Then it hit him, pickpocketing. It was simple, low risk, and if done correctly, almost impossible to trace. Cipher wasn't an experienced thief, but he was a fast learner. He spent hours watching YouTube videos and reading articles on sleight-of-hand techniques. He practiced in front of a mirror, testing different ways to grab an item unnoticed. The trick, he realized, was distraction. If the victim's focus was somewhere else, they'd never notice a light touch. He decided to test his skills in a crowded shopping district. He walked among the people, analyzing their behavior. His target had to be someone distracted, someone absorbed in their phone or carrying too many bags. Then he saw him, an older man in a business suit, juggling a cup of coffee and a phone. Perfect. Cipher casually walked past him, accidentally bumping into his shoulder. "Oh, sorry about that," he muttered, hands up in apology. "No worries," the man said, barely looking up. By the time Cipher turned the corner, the man's wallet was in his pocket. Adrenaline rushed through his veins. He had done it. Cipher didn't stop. He lifted 3 more wallets that day, taking only cash and leaving the wallets in random places where they could be found. He didn't need IDs or credit cards. Those were traceable. But cash? Cash was perfect. By the end of the day, he had over $700. Enough to modify the bike. Cipher visited a mechanic who didn't ask questions. For a price, the man repainted the Ducati, swapped out some parts, and even changed the serial number. By the time it was done, the bike was unrecognizable. Cipher now had a vehicle, money, and a taste of what was possible. But he knew one thing for sure. If he wanted to go bigger, he couldn't do it alone. It was time to find Reese.